Much for watching Virginia this morning right here on CBS 6. The global markets took a plunge last Thursday when the world learned Russia had invaded Ukraine. What does this mean for us going forward?
Our dear friend of the show and top financial advisor JB Bryan is here to share her insights. Good morning, JB.
It's so good to be here. Good morning to you. This is the key that Jessica just said is global. I think that all investors, all of us, are just amazed at the global impact of something that is so far from the U.S. market.
Yeah, and something none of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes because this kind of thing hasn't happened in our lifetime. I know your normal mantra is take the long-range picture, but this is not anything, well, maybe I'm wrong, but I think since World War II we haven't seen anything like this.
And Russia is old school, but it's amazing that our response to their actions are new school, meaning we're responding in such a highly technical way. So one thing that everyone will see this morning is there's going to be a big discussion about SWIFT. And I don't know if you've seen that in the report yet, but SWIFT is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, and the U.S. and Europe have now agreed to cut a lot of the privileges for Russia out of SWIFT, which is how you do SWIFT financial transactions. So they're trying to slow down their way to make money transfers. But the interesting thing I discovered in researching that is that Russia has already been working on for 7 years on a way to get around SWIFT. So that's why sometimes I say that, you know, we may not have seen the worst of it yet, because if it does impact Russia by being out of SWIFT, and they cut down our fuel supplies globally, because they do have an impact globally because they do provide natural gas and fuel. So if they do this, if they respond and say, you know what, no more fuel is going to go out, then that, you know, indeed is going to impact our prices. But the commitment last week before the SWIFT move was made is that they would continue to provide the same supply. So by the end of the week, the market had gone back up. Oil prices had gone down. Friday was actually a great day. So I thought that our discussion was going to be really different by this morning. But you see that over, you know, already now, because a lot of markets have already opened, the futures for our stock market are looking negative for today. So we're seeing an anticipated response. That's all we're saying, is that Russia might respond aggressively, and that might indeed create more inflation for us. And inflation, if you look at the research, inflation is the biggest concern for our viewers.
We've talked a lot about that, JB, certainly over the last few weeks, and then, of course, you add this world event into that conversation, and it continues to evolve. You've shared four kind of touch points, things to keep in mind. One is, and you started to allude to this, stay calm. This may get worse. Right. You know, you saw something Friday. We're having a different conversation today, but stay calm.
That's right. Because we do have to realize that when we're making investment decisions, you should be considering a lot of factors, and especially when you're participating in the stock market, you should be focused on the long term. So an adage that we use in financial services is be careful to allow short-term changes to impact your long-term financial goals. So, you know, and that is in thinking that this is a short-term challenge that we're having, and that soon this conflict will be over.
So we're back to that. Maintain that long-term view.
That's right.
The stock market always ends up going up in some kind of weird way.
Look, we can't say that, but over the long term, it has shown that exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Wishful thinking.
That's right.
I'm trying to stay calm.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I know. Look, but it's that we do need to also keep in mind that the Federal Reserve, that we had already factored in, the market was already, our stock market was already weakening before this move. So that was because the Federal Reserve has promised to start increasing interest rates to slow down our economy already. So when I think of, if I go over my 30 years of being in financial services, I have watched the Federal Reserve face times like this, and they typically back off their decision to increase interest rates, or if they do, they don't do a half a point, they'll maybe do a quarter a point, because they don't want to totally destroy consumer confidence. So the Federal Reserve may not make that interest rate move higher in March, but I wouldn't depend on that. But the market had already considered that, and then now, but it's especially fuel prices and oil prices and wheat prices. I didn't realize prior to this that Russia actually provides a lot of the wheat globally.
Well,
So-
they were talking about the Ukraine was the breadbasket of Europe or something like that. I saw that as well. I learned so many
Yeah,
things.
both of them.
Used to be
Both of
Kiev,
them.
now it's
That's right.
Kyiv. I learned about SWIFT, and I learned about the breadbasket this weekend.
And we've learned
The geopolitical. That's another new word that's being used
Yeah.
a lot. Yes, indeed.
and we're
But
learning.
we do need to learn, Jessica, I would want to share is that what is your personal inflation rate? Like, how do these things impact you? Because we have more and more people working from home. So maybe if fuel prices do go up, because you're working more from home, or we're working more, from home, that it might not impact you personally as much as you think if fuel prices do start moving higher again. But when you look at personal inflation, food prices are a big part of that too. And food prices are moving up and dramatically. And if really it does impact us from a commodity perspective with wheat prices, and Americans enjoy a lot of bread. So.
And fuel. JB, thank you so much. We appreciate talking with you. Some interesting perspectives.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. JB Bryan offering free weekly money seminars and webinars every Wednesday and Sunday evening. You'll find a link to all the information on virginiathismorning.com.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.